if you're a WWE fan and you're upset at TKO before this video gets rolling, you got to check out the TKO t-shirt. Available now on my website. Go check it out on Facebook.com/Joe Cronin Show. It's pinned to the top of the Facebook page. I'll have links in the top of the comments down below for the TKO t-shirt. Anyway, let's get into this. You could be on Raw with this, baby. WWE fans' perception of the WWE now that TKO Group Holdings are the parent company of WWE and UFC, it's mixed, but right now it's starting to lean heavily towards the negative among vocal segments of the fan base and somewhat negative overall. Particularly on platforms like X, the sentiment stems from several key issues through its not universal, and some fans do focus their frustrations on specific decisions rather than TKO as a whole. But, you know, some of the reasons why some fans, a lot of fans actually, to be honest, wrestling is down right now and the way they feel about this, why some fans view TKO as the enemy now, people are now starting to turn. It's become more and more evident every single week, but today, especially with the release of R-Truth, you're hearing it even more, and it's just building and building. One of the big reasons is the ticket prices in WWE. Fans are constantly now bringing up the soaring ticket prices because of the booming business of WWE. Writer Vince Russo publicly criticized TKO for ripping off fans, and so many others have commented on this over the time. There's been talent releases, and that's been another negative, but that's always a negative that's there to be fair. Of course, today with R-Truth, one of the most lovable characters in the company, a long tenure, that really hurt them as well. And the way that they treat their employees now is different as well. The stock options dropping and some of the other stuff. Like, how is the company doing better than it ever has in the history of anything, but the corporate office apparently is laying off and cutting certain benefits from employees, and it's less beneficial to work there now than it used to be. That doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and thus it's turning TKO into more of the villain. Creative and cultural shifts in the company. Fans have criticized TKO for prioritizing dude bro chud culture, whatever the heck that means. Mainstream appeal over wrestling to core fans. For instance, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson segments, such as his controversial appearance at WrestleMania 40, were seen as dismissive of the wrestling's authenticity. I would argue that one of the biggest reasons why, you know, that's going on is these incomplete segments and the fact that there are so many cooks in the kitchen now at TKO that it seems kind of like chaotic compared to the once, you know, the past, when you knew everything at the end of the day fell on the shoulders of a guy like Vince McMahon, right? And again, corporate greed and perception is just beaming to all the fans right now. TKO's broader business moves, such as a merger with UFC and acquisitions like Professional Bull Riders and a new boxing promotion with Saudi Arabia, is seen to some as evidence of a profit-first mentality, and the creative seems to be secondary, even though Triple H is in charge of so much of that. They are, without a doubt, the positives are that the company is, without a doubt, a financial success now, and business-wise is booming bigger than ever. But as far as creativity and the long-time wrestling storylines and things like that, I think they had success, right? A couple of years ago when Cody first lost to Reigns, when Cody finished the story. But this past WrestleMania, they dropped the ball, and things have become more cookie-cutter than ever, and stuff is starting to go downhill quite a bit, and you're starting to see a lot of displeasure, expressed by many of the fans in the fan base. So these are some of the reasons that this is going on. And in conclusion, all of this, TKO isn't universally seen as necessarily the enemy all the time, but a significant portion of the vocal WWE fans, especially on X, view it negatively due to the high ticket prices, talent releases, perceived shift towards corporate greed over fan satisfaction. Others may be seen, other people might see TKO's moves like necessary as far as a corporate entity and a corporate business, but it's just long-term wrestling fans see there's a shift, and there's a care in certain aspects of it. And people are really starting to think, that it's kind of become much more cookie-cutter. That WWE feels more like AI or, just like video game booking. And there was some of that before TKO bought it, but now it's like that with a little bit of a corporate flair. By the way, guys, if you can, please click that like button and push that like button. Push it in nice and slow like you would in a romantic relationship, you know? Hit that like button and leave me some comments as well before we continue here. And, you got to be subscribed to the Joe Cronin Show, of course. And you can check me out on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Super thanks are much welcome. Or paypal.me/Joe Cronin Show. Let's continue. I want to thank WWE for the ride, but mostly I want to thank each and every one of you who are along for the ride. Thank you all for the love, support, and appreciation you give me over the years. Thank you. So there you have it. But officially released. This is a surprise. Even though maybe somebody saw it coming, like, okay, that's why he's wrestling Cena. Like, this is they're giving him this kind of gift of a big man event, go away type of thing. I mean, you could argue that R-Truth, Ron Killings, R-Truth, K-Quick, that he's long overdue to be gone from the company. But people love this guy. This guy has been solidly, like, making us laugh and involved. And if something was ever needed, he could probably do it, right? No matter what. I'm a little bit shocked because the guy just, like, he cruises. You know what I'm saying? Even to this most recent John Cena thing, although it's funny, a lot of people, the talk was, this is stupid, and why are they doing this type of thing, or this is lame. I heard so much talk like that, and now the talk is, what are they doing? How could they let him go? So it's just funny with the way the wrestling fans are. I think, was it Jericho or Punk or somebody called the fans fickle? It was kind of fickle. I mean, the guy has been in the company, I think, since, like, off and on since 1998 or 1999, which is incredible. I mean, he spanned every generation in some way. He's been involved in there somewhere, even in small roles. But he's always done really well as a guy that you could call upon at different times to make people laugh. I mean, he could do more serious stuff. It's just they booked a lot of comedy things for him over these past years. They could always roll out some of those jokes that he cemented 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever the case may be. But I think a lot of people are upset about this. I think wrestling right now is a bit down. People are really down on wrestling. I think. I know the WWE probably doesn't feel that way, and AEW and people like that. They think everything's great, and they're making so much money, and oh my God. But, creatively right now, things feel bad. And as a creator myself, I can tell you that all kinds of wrestling creators' numbers are down. The numbers are down in general, and it's not just because, like, people are done listening to wrestling YouTubers. It's because wrestling is not that interesting right now. It all really started with The Rock not showing up at WrestleMania and not really getting into that sort of story that they were telling. But so this delivers another sort of annoying blow, I would call it, where people just don't want things to change right now. What's the reason for this? Will we find out soon? I'm sure we will. But you're talking about a guy who's had a really steady time in wrestling for a long time. And, I think people really, what I'm noticing the most is that people just love R-Truth. People love R-Truth. They really do. And that's when this may be a decision that you would say in your mind, of course he was released. And wow, I mean, he could have been released 10 years ago. It's amazing that didn't happen. What a run. And you could look at this as a positive, glass half full situation, but just people aren't doing that. And I think that's because they like him so much. He's so likable and he was so respected by people. I mean, there's a lot of fans now that have grown up their entire lives. This guy was in the WWE. That's crazy to think about that. I mean, I'm 40 years old, and I mean, when did R-Truth show up? When I was about what, 11, 12, 13, 14. I was about 14 or 15 years old when the WWE signed R-Truth. So I was about 14 years old. So from 14 years old to 40 years old, this guy has been involved in the WWE. Off and on a couple of times, but mostly throughout that entire time he's been around WWE. And if you're like a 30-year-old person, almost your entire life, R-Truth has been part of the WWE. The guy was in, I believe, has 21 or 22 solid years in WWE. Aside from his stint where he left or when he went to TNA, I think that puts R-Truth at like the 20, 21 year mark in the WWE. I mean, that is more than almost 80% of any wrestler you've ever seen in the WWE ever. So you can see why he has, and I'm sure that WWE, probably didn't do this lightly. I don't know what the reasoning is, that they thought, well, he's been hanging around forever. And they may have wanted to cut him a little while back, and they wanted to put him on this run with John Cena, or that John Cena maybe even asked for it. I don't know. But I do think he was given a wonderful send-off in a way, in a big match that drew one of the best ratings. I know that most of that was Cena. You could put Cena with anybody, but it was kind of funny, and it drew my eyes to things. For a second, the idea that he's coming out against John Cena after all the worship of John Cena that he's had. I mean, this guy he does rap stuff. He does rap. He can do his more music now, maybe. I don't know if that's his goal. We don't know the specifics. His contract is up. He's not fired. People have said that too. He's not fired. His contract is up, and they're not renewing it. And in a little while, he'll be free to do whatever. And I don't know how much of this is mutual. He didn't really allude to that in his post about how much this is like mutual, or that he agreed upon, or WWE's idea. I mean, it sounds like it's more WWE's idea, but I don't know. We don't really know all those details yet. I was skimming around social media, and I just know that so many people are mad, man. People really love R-Truth. That's the biggest thing that I'm noticing. I mean, there's so many posts like this. Like, is this an April Fool's joke or June 1st? Or if not, WWE messed up on this. I mean, you're going to have other people say, what do you mean WWE messed up on this? The guy has done not really anything. He's been in the company for like 30-something years. It's like, okay, like it's time to move on now. He's way overstayed the welcome, some people would say. But people just love him so much that they don't believe that. WrestleMania, of course, releases happen even before they took over, but this seems like a sign that the glory days are over. All they seem to care about is cramming as much as they can without any substance. F the fans, we've got merch to sell and achieve record gates. I don't even think that, but I do think that he's right about the fact that the WWE is now more corporate than ever. Like 5 years ago, we started realizing that they cared more about the numbers than anything else. It doesn't matter about these other things. They've got a business to run. It's a business sanitized corporation. And now it's more than ever like that. So yes, like I don't think things will seem too much different, because they would do kind of crazy releases in the past. But the reason why they're doing them now is so different. That's the difference. McMahon would have a feeling that this guy stinks and he's never going to do anything. Release that guy, Now it's more like this guy, numbers, okay, blah, 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 release him. This guy, release him. Yeah, but hey, even though the numbers and this and that, people love this guy, and he's somebody we can dial up whenever, whatever, and fans just love him. He's a great mascot for the company. Does not compute. I don't care. Numbers mean something. Fire. Like, that's what it's like now. So if you don't know that, that's just what the company has already been like this, starting with the WWE Network. All that stuff was done like, look, shareholders, bam. And they eventually did what we started talking about back then. They're getting the company ready to be sold. They're getting the company ready to be sold. We said this for 10 years. And now they're here. Triple H is just a creative guy in the company. Vince McMahon has nothing to do with it. Shane McMahon has nothing to do with it. Stephanie McMahon is a figurehead for a face. Triple H has creative control. That's the biggest control of any of the McMahons, of any of the things you could be or do in WWE now. Creative control of the storylines is the biggest thing that you can be and have. It's the last thing that you can do You know what I mean? To be creative in the WWE. And when Triple H loses that, Triple H is gone and whoever else takes over, man, it's just going to be more hands in the cookie jar. And that's what you're noticing. A lot of the storylines are cookie cutter, AI-like. Everything is recycled among like 70 different people. Where back in the day it was like, here, you 30 people write stuff and then Vince McMahon will filter it. Well, now it's kind of like everyone's writing everything. If the Triple H might have an idea, but The Rock thinks differently. Then Triple H agrees with The Rock, but then The Rock thinks differently. Then Triple H has an idea, but somebody else thinks differently. Then somebody else has an idea, and Triple H doesn't like it, but can't fix it. Okay, we'll do it. Then Triple H says, no, we're going to do this instead because I make that decision. And then it gets done. I mean, just, guys, it's all over the place now. What does this mean for R-Truth? How do you feel about R-Truth being released? How do you feel about the future of WWE? Right now, in my opinion, morality is very, very much down. Business might be booming, but morality is down in the ratings, in the interest, in reviews on YouTube, and podcasts in general. Wrestling channels right now are down 20% from what they were last year when things were up. And I think WrestleMania killed the momentum and exposed all the corporate greed that is this company now, and we are in trouble. We are in for some dark days. This is the Joe Cronin Show. Subscribe if you're brand new. Daily videos on wrestling and more. All my other channels and everything else. PayPal.me/Joe Cronin Show if you want to save my life. And super thanks are super welcome in the comments down below. See you guys in the next video.